G'day guys, December 31st, New Year's Eve, and we're heading into 2020. I'd like to thank you all again for taking the opportunity to have a look at the last video that I released, and once again thank you for all your support, getting the message out there, and all the comments and private messages again. Now, it's not all been green grass and smooth sailing. I have had a few messages saying that I'm sexist and personal attacks and people basically trying to skew my point of view and the message that I'm conveying. Now, I'm nowhere dead against females and all for the men and like anti-mothers and stuff like that. It's not what this is about. This is about exposing the family courts and the corrupt systems and the agencies of that behind there. Now, I've even had comments removed from fathers groups regarding the view and all the experiences I've had. No worries, you're entitled to do that, champ. Like, you can't silence me because you don't agree with what I've got to say. Now, if you go through our 1901 Commonwealth Constitution and the Magna Carta, you'll actually see that our basic human rights are being violated, and we're actually being thrust into these illegal court systems. And I've had a lot of people saying, why are these family courts illegal? Why are their orders non-binding? Why this, why that? Now, I'm going to tell you why, and this is from a brief glimpse that I had the privilege of seeing back in 2018 in the 1901 Commonwealth Constitution. And no, I don't own a copy of it. I actually went to my local MP in Perth when I was living there back last year, and I asked him if I could have a copy of the 1901 Constitution, Commonwealth Constitution, and lo and behold, he didn't have a copy in his office, and his secretary had no idea where I could get a copy. I was told to contact my local library. The libraries don't retain a copy either. So we've got a government that has removed our Commonwealth Constitution, replaced it with their green anecdoted version, which overrides everything. And if you follow Wayne Glue, you'll know what I'm on about here, right? Wayne Glue is full bottle on this stuff. He's a champion in the arena for the 1901 Commonwealth Constitution. And the part that I read in there, which I found very interesting, was for any courts of law within Australia, they must consist of one judge and 12 peers that will make judgment of an innocent person being accused of a guilty crime, or in the case, your 12 peers will sit there and they will judge. They will hand their findings to the judge, who will then make orders or will hand out sentences. Now, I can tell you right now from personal experience, the Perth Magistrates Court of Western Australia does not have 12 jurors. It has a judge. I can tell you now from personal experience, the Perth Family Court of Western Australia does not have 12 jurors. It only has one judge. So when they hand out orders, these orders are non-binding. They're not legal, because they haven't followed the law when setting up these courts. And our law in the 1901 Commonwealth Constitution says any court of law within Australia must consist of 12 jurors, the peers before the persons in the courtroom to be judged over. So these courts are completely illegal. Now, the family courts belong to the federal governments and the governments of state, and the the state governments are illegal. The federal governments are illegal. We had referendums, which Wayne Glue will explain to you all about, to continue to hold our Commonwealth Constitution. Now, I don't pretend to be full bottle on this whole Commonwealth Constitution, but I know enough to know that our court systems and our courts in place are illegal. Now, if you think about every other government agency that's in ties with the family courts, access to children, everything like that, it's all about this. You know, they already know when you go for legal aid, they already know when you go for a lawyer, you know, who does what, who makes the money, who has the most to win, who has the most to lose in the game. And if you're the sole breadwinner for a family that has fallen apart and collapsed, like my case, then you're going to be held and tied in this system for a long time, because they want to milk you for this as much as they can and for as long as they can. They're going to throw everything at you. They're going to make everything up that they can possibly do. They're going to hand out orders, but they're not going to make sure that these orders are followed. And I've touched on this before as well, where, let's go back to the Margaret River Massacre. There was an 18-page press release made from the Perth Family Court to, I believe it was Channel 7, where the courts turned around and said it is not in the public's interest, that they know how the family courts operate and for what benefit the decisions of the court are made. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you they don't want anyone else to know that what they're doing is all illegal. It also says in this 18-page document that they do not have the resources to make sure that orders are policed. So they're going to throw orders out there, but they're not going to make sure that the orders are followed. They're not going to make sure that you're getting what the judge has perceived to be fair in the time that the case is carrying on. And furthermore, when orders are breached and you do take them back, they don't penalise the person that's breached them. Now, I can tell you personally from my circumstances and the experience that I've had, I've been in there 3 or 4 times, orders weren't being followed and breached and breached and breached. Nothing changed. There was nothing, handed down as penalty, just more orders to be breached. In a court of law, you make affidavits and statements in legal binding documents, and you swear on these affidavits and statements that you're making that it's the truth. But when the truth is exposed and uncovered via subpoenas, there's no penalty. Even when it's in black and white for the court, that the court subpoenaed the evidence, there's no penalty. It's all bullshit. It's all there designed to get this much money. There's no care for the kids. There's no care for their welfare. There's no care for their safety. It all comes down to the bottom dollar. Now, the person that's got the most to lose financially is going to be the loser. Because as soon as you're finished in the courts, if their paperwork was all legal and binding, and they take your parental rights and responsibilities away from you, then you have no financial right or responsibility to care for the kids that the court has now taken your rights away from. But hang on, we've got the Child Support Agency that say they override any family court ruling, because I'm in this boat. and they'll take your money. But they're a court, they're legal. It's, no bullshit. Their orders are not legal. Their courts are illegal. It goes against the 1901 Commonwealth Constitution. They know it, and anyone else that's waking up knows it too. So to you guys that keep coming to me and saying, why are they illegal, why, go and read your Commonwealth Constitution and see what it says about courts within Australia. Think about the orders and the reasons why perjury is, not punishable, and think about why orders keep getting breached and yet there's no penalty. A copper will pull you over for doing 5 over the speed limit, hand you a $100 fine. No harm, no foul. You haven't done anything, you haven't hurt anyone. Yet your children are getting dragged through the mud and psychologically abused and, put into a game of tug of war, and yet no penalty for breaches of orders, which is completely illegal. Like, really, come on guys, wake up. If you've got money, you're going to be in there paid to play while this game of charades continues. And if you think that this family law inquiry is going to save your soul and it's going to be your saviour and fix everything, you're kidding yourself. We've got fires burning over the east coast of Australia right at the moment. There's this one champion on Facebook, his name's Romeo. He's very passionate about the whole thing, and I don't want to steer right over it. But 2nd of December, we had trucks shut down Parliament House. They all pulled up there with their banners alongside their trailers, and making a difference, to get water and stuff for the firefighters. And, there's hundreds of us men and women going through this family court system, and we're writing a paper of submission to this family law inquiry, which will get, it's going to get shut down, swept under the rug. Look at all the other royal commissions where high profile politicians have been named. What's happened? Oh, that's right. We've shut down those paperwork. We've locked it away for 50 years because it's named one of their own. Let's be honest here. Nothing's going to happen. None of these papers are ever going to see the light of day. You've all been writing your story saying that the paper that you've submitted is going to be held as classified and confidential. Why? Why isn't it going to be made public? Why can't I read your story that you've submitted into the family law inquiry? I love Pauline Hanson to bits, but she's a politician, guys. You want something to happen, you need to stand up, you need to start telling everyone what's going on, and you need to make it public so we can all come together and we can all march onto Parliament House and we can all sing Kumbaya, my Lord, stand on a podium and tell our stories. Let Channel 7, 9, 10, SBS, Sky News, whatever, come and record it. We go, Facebook Live. And we get our stories out there. For some of us, it's too late for our children. They're now adults themselves. But you've got to think of the future too. What's going to happen when your children have children? You think that, the buck stops here? Because this illegal court system is driven on one thing: the continuation of this cycle, the continuation of the child abuse, the continuation of the parental alienation, the continuation of child support agency hacking away at your hard-earned livings because they're taking advantage of a situation they've created, and it's been created for generations now. It's just growing and it's snowballing and it's snowballing and it's snowballing, guys. It's time it stops. 2020 is going to be the beginning of the real revolution, where we're all going to start standing up and we're not going to take no more. You know, you've got Romeo, he's passionate about the fires and everything like that. He's standing up. He's got 5,000 followers already on his Facebook page. You can't cram another person in there to follow him. When are the fathers' rights movements and the mothers' rights movements and the parental alienation people, when are you all going to start coming together? When are you gonna start saying no more, enough's enough? When are you going to stop sitting there behind your keyboards going, oh, we should, and the parental, you know, the family law inquiry is going to do this. And it's going to do that. It ain't going to do jack shit. The family courts are owned by the Australian government. The Child Support Agency is owned by the Australian government. Child Support, DCP, Department of Child Protection, owned by the Australian government. It's cash for your kids, guys. You know, have you connected the dots yet? There's blood on their hands. You know, I've got guys coming to me saying, you know, I want my story out there. You want your story out there, mate? No worries. I'll change your name so you don't hear it. I'll make a video. We'll have a phone conversation. You talk to me. You tell me your problems. I'll record it and I'll post it. Because I'm not yellow. I'm not too scared to say this stuff anymore. They've taken my kids. My kids are now growing up. And there's no money that they can give me to compensate for everything that I've been through. You know, I only ever pushed for 50-50 because I was never intending to take them away from their mother. But she intended to make sure that I never got to see my kids again. Even with the orders. Even with the order saying that I no longer have any rights. But I've got another government department telling me I've got to pay. Because they override those orders. So, Happy New Year, guys. Tell you what, 2020, let's come together. Let's make a date. It just so happens to be my birthday. It's a great day. March 4th. March 4th, and go and tell them exactly how you feel about them taking your children away. March 4th, let's gather over on Parliament House and stand there and tell all our stories, all together, all in one voice, all together, all congregated, no one separate, no one divided. March 4th, guys. March 4th, and let's get this done. Happy New Year. Catch us later.